Capital Hoops today, we're starting a new series, the Quarantine Files. We're with Oxon Hill head coach Lew Howard. Lew, thanks for having us out to the neighborhood here. We appreciate you meeting up with us. I know we're in some interesting times here, but wanted to take the chance to go around and try to talk to some different coaches and get their take on their past season, learn a little bit more about their history, and just kind of catch up.
Oh, thanks for having me, man. It's just great time to get out. We got to be in before 8 o'clock tonight, so
Yep.
this could be a 4-hour interview. Looking forward to it.
All right. So first off, I want to start. Everyone knows you were at Largo before Oxon Hill, but where did you grow up? Did you grow up around here?
No, I'm from Newburgh, New York.
Okay.
I grew up there. Went to Newburgh Free Academy.
Where is that? Where in New York is
It's
that?
right outside of Westchester County.
Okay.
Orange County Choppers. You heard of them? Back in the day, right
okay.
there,
Okay.
right in that area. Went to Hudson Valley Community College. Then I transferred from there to Stony Brook
Okay.
University. I played at Stony Brook from '89 to '92,
Okay.
and graduated from college. Played all 3 years. We were Skyline champions and did well. Then I moved down here in '94.
How'd you make it down here?
My sister, she left New York a long time ago, and she had came down and said there was opportunity, and I came down. I've been here ever since.
At what point did you know that basketball, when your playing career was done, you wanted to make or at least be involved in the game?
I was still active, still playing, so just being around the game. And
But
it worked
while you
out.
were in college, did you have an inkling like maybe I want to try this coaching thing out, or when did that?
Nah, not really.
No?
Not really. My first job, I worked for Smith Barney in Manhattan.
Okay.
I worked there for like almost 6 months. Not enough time to get my Series 7 license, obviously, because I'm not a stock trader at this time in my life. But
Right.
it worked out, getting an education. And I've been in education for 25 years. I've been in Prince George's County for 20.
And what do you do when you say education?
Oh,
what do
education.
you
I'm
do?
a teacher. I'm a teacher, social studies teacher at
Okay.
Largo High School. Been there since 2000.
Oh, you're still at Largo now?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay.
Yes, sir.
So what's the dynamic like coaching at one school but teaching at another?
It works out very well because Largo gets out of school at 2:25, and Oxon Hill doesn't get out until 4:10.
Oh,
So my regular work day is over, and then I transition to Oxon Hill for the after school activity or what have you, practice.
Right. So let's talk about Largo for a little bit. I know you had a lot of success there. Give us a brief kind of synopsis of the Largo days.
Well, it was I came in 2000. I was an assistant coach at Woodbridge High School from 95 to 2000, 95 to 99,
Okay.
under Will Robinson. Will Robinson was a great mentor to me, great teacher, and got an opportunity to come to Largo High School, and being there, growing pains. Didn't really know what I was getting into. I was young, great opportunity, first head coaching job, first time, and it was definitely a different vibe here in Prince George's County than anywhere else. But it was great basketball. Things were a lot different back then than they are now.
What are the major differences?
Well, it wasn't a social media presence.
Right.
That wasn't evident. There wasn't all the trainers everywhere. It was about being in the park. Go to the park and play ball, and then come back, and then be ready to compete at the high school level.
Right.
And people worked on your craft. It was me against you. It wasn't a whole lot of analytics. It wasn't a lot of that.
Right.
And let the best man win.
So what are your thoughts on how the game has evolved, shall we say? I mean, I know there's positives and negatives with social media, with the trainers. Obviously, the AAU plays a big part in it these days.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on where we are today?
I mean, those things are inevitable, and change is something that you have to grasp and get a part of. I'm still not very good with Twitter. I mean, the Twitter challenge has gone out right now with everybody being cooped up in houses. Like a couple people have hit me, and I don't really know how to do it. So very well. I mean, I could respond in that nature, but I can't. That's not really my thing. So
So going back to Oxon Hill, how long were you there? I mean, sorry, going back to Largo. How long did you coach at Largo?
20 years.
20 years.
20 years. 20 years at Largo. Beginning as a young head coach, eager, zealous. Was talking with someone a few days ago just about Coach Howard back then to now. And it's always a growth process. I got my head beat in very badly by Bobby Johnson, Parkdale, used to be at Parkdale, Ernie Welsh at High Point,
I know that name.
Billy Lanier at Oxon Hill, Eleanor Roosevelt, Glenn Farello.
Yeah.
We were in the 4A back then. Suitland. Those were the heavies. Those were the heavies back then, and they were the OGs, if you will,
Right.
of Prince George's County. And I remember very clearly Bob Johnson, after he beat me by like 30 points one game, rest his soul, he said, "You're gonna be okay, young fella." But he had just put 30 piece on me at Largo.
So how many times at Largo did you guys make it to Coalfield House / Comcast? I remember the Derek Coulter year. I remember.
Four times. Four times. We went in 2005.
Okay.
We had an amazing regional championship game against Suitland High School. We won the regional championship there, and that was our first time in 2005. We lost to Blake in the semifinal.
Wow.
05. 06. 06, 07, we were undefeated. We went 25-1. We were 25-0. We won everything. We were undefeated going into Coalfield House. We were undefeated. Had a tremendous team: Kwame Morgan, Maurice Coulter, Desmond Wade, who's now the head coach at Blake now, Maurice Sutton, Clevin Pollard, Malik Thomas. We just had a dynamic young group.
You played BCC that year?
BCC that year.
I was at that game.
And that was in 07. And then we came back again in 08 and we won. We beat BCC the next year in the semifinals.
Austin Cooley.
Austin Cooley, yeah.
Carl Buck. It was one of those two.
Yeah.
I remember. Yeah. Okay.
We won the state championship then, and then we went back in 2012 with Derek Coulter, Lafayette Nelson, rest in peace, DeMonte McNeil, Michael Graham, Kari Sewell. Kari's now an assistant with Largo High School now. And just trying to get back again. It was just a tremendous opportunity and a great feeling to be able to do that.
So what happened at Largo? I mean, you had been there for 20 years. You taught there. Why?
17
years. Why did things?
It was administrative. It was an administrative decision. And you know, as tough as it might have been at the moment in time, you know, everything happens for a reason. So you know, it is what it is. I still work there. I go there every day. You know. The banners on the wall that are there. Second state championship, had one in 1993. Coach Lew Wilson, current coach at Wise, is the head coach at the time. And 2008, two Lews: Lew Howard, Lew Wilson.
One LEW, one LOU.
Exactly. So that's definitely a great feeling, and you know, things happen, and they just did, and we just moved forward.
So how do you land the Oxon Hill job? You had no time in between, right?
No, thankfully, fortunately.
So how'd you land it so quick?
Well, I don't know.
It just happened to be open. You went in and they liked you.
Yeah, it happened to be open. There was a couple of jobs that were open in the county at that time, and then you know I put my paperwork in and interviewed for the job. I was fortunate enough to get it, to be selected.
So a lot of coaches who maybe have your pedigree, your resume, would like to maybe break into the private ranks, at least give it a cup of coffee, see what it's all about. Is that something you've ever had the itch for?
Not at all. Really, it is what it is. The public, private. I mean, I'm not dying to go coach at DeMatha or Gonzaga. I got respect for those guys, tremendous respect. If an opportunity came, you certainly explore it, but it's not something that I gotta say it's not gonna. I'm whole already. You know, I don't need that to make me whole to say I did. I coach in the greatest public school arena in the country right now, and Prince George's County Public Schools, I match it up with anywhere.
So let's talk about your current gig. You guys had a great year this year.
We did.
Was this the best team you've had since you inherited this program?
It's to date, yes. Hopefully it'll continue to get better. We came in 17. We were 15-9. Our record was 15-9. Last year we were 16-5, and this year we were 21-4. So definitely making some progress.
Where does Polite stack up with the greatest you've coached? If you had to come out with the all Lew Howard team, where would you go with that?
The all Lew Howard team is funny.
From Largo and from here.
Great point guards. There were four. Each one of the point guards I'm going to mention took us to a regional final. You had Jarrell Daniels in 05.
Okay.
He was our point guard, tough as nails. Then you had Mo Coulter in 07, 06, 07.
That's Derek's brother?
That's Derek's older brother.
Okay.
And you had 08, you had Darren Clark. I only had Darren for 1 year.
Okay.
But Darren Clark was a tremendous floor general. Then you had Derek Coulter.
Yeah.
And again, Derek played with Lafayette Nelson, and they came in as freshmen and left together. And they were a 1-2 punch. And Ronald Polite. Guys who have led my club and had the ball multiple years for me. It's tough. It's tough to even stack them, and I would be doing a disservice to them all if I tried to.
All right. So how about outside the point guard? Tell me some of the best you've coached outside of the backcourt or outside of the one.
Terrence Carter. He played for me at Largo. Graduated in 04. Prototypical 6'4", 6'3.5", 6'4", 6'5", wing guard. He ended up playing at went to Southeastern Community College in Iowa, and then finished up at James Madison.
Okay.
He's currently an assistant with me now.
Okay.
He was just his growth. As a matter of fact, he was in line to be the scoring champion with Sam Young. You gotta remember Sam Young. I remember his last game against High Point. Terrence scored 53, Sam scored 52, something along that line. And I think Terrence ended up getting the scoring title, if I'm not mistaken. But he was just tough kid, tough young man. Kwame Morgan was another great player that played for us. Just lefty, tough, strong, just demonstrated the ability to get to the basket, coachable. All these kids, they had some skill. We taught them some things, gave them some things to work with, and they went with it and they maximized their opportunities as they were given. Maury Sutton, definitely a tremendous young man. He wakes up every day. He's 6'11", and he was 6'7" 1 year, grew 3 inches, and had him. He was just a tremendous joy to coach.
Where did he go to school?
Villanova.
Right.
Villanova. Derek Coulter. He was great. I mean, there's so many in between there. Abdul Bundu.
Yeah, for sure.
2015
All-Met
Player of the Year.
That's the only one you've had, I assume?
All-Met Player of the Year?
Yeah.
Player of the Year, yes.
Yeah.
I've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guys that have been on the All-Met team, first team All-Met.
Wow.
Abdul was just a joy to see his development from being a freshman all the way up into culminating his senior year.
And did I just see that he just signed his first pro contract recently?
Yeah, in Spain.
Okay.
Spain. I think he just came home with the virus and everything. We still communicate quite a bit.
So, let's outside of your coaching career, let me ask you this: when you're at practice, what are the things that you really like to instill? Like, let's just say you have a 1-hour practice. What are the things that you're focusing on in that 1 hour?
What we're trying to do defensively, before we even begin the game plan, it's about what we want to do, what we want to try to impose on our opponent, and what we want to do day in and day out. We have a saying that we say each and every day. The movements that are going to be done at each position, letting everybody understand what their job is, what their role is within the team.
How much different is your system, the plays you run, the type of offense that you guys work now compared to your last year at Largo?
It's the same.
Same.
Same exact thing.
How much do you change things? I mean, do you ever change things based on personnel or based on
Oh,
how much
absolutely,
size you have?
absolutely. Things are going to change. You know, you're going to have differences from year to year, but the core principles. We want to be a defensive-minded team. We were very fortunate this year to hold several opponents under 60 points. Average high school game, we say the first team to 60 is going to win most of the time, and we held several opponents under 60 quite a bit. So we're just putting those things in, those key terms, key phrases, movements, rotations, things of that nature. You get different players from year to year, so making the adjustment for them offensively. What can this guy do? This guy he gets to the basket well. This guy shoots a little better than before. So, you know, making adjustments. The last jump is on the player all the time.
What with this virus going on, and obviously kids not being in school, how much contact do you have with the team and especially the kids who will be back next year?
Very minimal.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, they call, we talk. I was just talking with one of my guys earlier today, sending out some film for him and talking with just random conversation. Things are not, this generation doesn't do as much talking.
Some texting?
Yeah, a lot of
those
texting.
thumbs ready?
A lot of texting.
Some emoji talk?
Yeah, you get a lot of that. And again, they talk through the social outlets, the social media thing. So just communicating whatever they need, we're here for them, and we do whatever we need to at this point. Obviously, it's kind of like the NCAA, no contact period, dead period.
Right.
It's a dead period right now.
So when you say you sent him film, what does that mean? Film of himself? Film of...
Yeah. Film of a game, one of our games. He asked for a copy of it. You know, I sent it to him. You know.
And he just looks at it and tries to figure out what he did right, what he did wrong, or did you point things out to him?
It's analytics. We have it all broken down.
Okay.
What they did do, what they didn't do, what happened. So
What do you think should happen? I know you guys lost in the playoffs down in St. Charles, but what do you think should happen with the remaining 4 teams in each? If the MPSA came to you and said, "What do you think we should do?" What would you say?
It's a tough call due to the scenario that's in front of us right now. You got kids that are graduating. It's a health issue, number one. It's a physical safety issue.
Of course.
Kids haven't practiced since a long time, over a month. Getting them together, getting that mojo back. I know guys are still working out, doing whatever they can, but it's difficult. It's a difficult call. It's a tough call.
Do you think co-champions, or you just scrap the whole season and there is no champion?
Well, I think
year?
you probably put an asterisk by it.
Yeah.
I don't know what you could do. I mean, I don't know. It's a tough call. I'm thankful that we're the Prince George's County champions, and you know, I can say that.
The last game you coached was at St. Charles this year.
It was.
Things didn't go too well for Oxon Hill.
They did it.
You had star players on the bench for way more than I'm sure you had anticipated going into the game. There was an interesting call where you were vividly upset. Take me through that day. You guys pull up to the gym. Just walk me through the motions that day.
You know, we knew it was going to be a tough contest, a highly contested contest. The 3A South region section, the 3A South section, which includes Potomac, Oxon Hill, Huntingtown, Crate Mills, St. Charles.
It's loaded.
No, yes, to say the least. It's loaded. It's a loaded, you know, the top
gauntlet.
The gauntlet, if you will. So, and it had been a highly talked about matchup. You know, again, the social media presence, the aspect of it is either Potomac, Oxon Hill, St. Charles, Oxon Hill, and you did actually end up getting all of those scenarios.
For sure.
So, you know, Coach Campbell does a really good job with his program. They're coming on the scene, okay, a new school, new program, or what have you. So they definitely have developed their talent to get to where they are at this point. And, you know, it was another game for us. It was another game for us.
Come on, man. Of course it was another game, but this is like the game.
It is. I mean, it's not really, but really. You know, it's another game. If you saw I was upset at the call because the call was totally wrong.
I don't think
There's
not much disputing that,
right,
for sure.
You're right. That call, but I mean, I try to be, again, and that comes with maturation over time. You don't ever want to lose, but you want to be able to compete. We didn't have our best stuff. We didn't have our best game.
When you play on the road, and obviously you played on the road many a times in the playoffs in your 22, 23 years, how prepared are you to go play in front of officials that you never see, and maybe they're used to those coaches, they're used to that program, they're used to that environment? How much, obviously you want to be politically correct right now, but a lot of teams complain that when they go on the road in these playoff games, I've seen it time and time again. When I was in high school, I saw the school I went to get railroaded out at Middletown High School in 1998. I mean, it happens. What are your thoughts on that?
Don't put yourself in that position at the end of the day. We all start at the same point, okay? And you know what your goals should be. Our goals are to win a state championship every year. That should be your goal, because you want to be playing on the last day of the season.
Yeah.
And you want to be the #1 seed in your region, which secures you home court advantage.
Of course.
And home court does have its advantages. There's no doubt about it. You're playing at home. We got on a 45-minute bus ride from Oxon Hill to St. Charles. 30-minute bus ride,
Right.
or what have you. Give or take traffic. You got to get down there. It's packed out. They only lost one game. We've only lost 3 games. At that point, it's what you want.
Do you feel like you knew everything you could have possibly known about their personnel, about what they run, about all that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were prepared. And that's one thing we always ask the kids the next day in practice: win, lose, or draw, was the scout right? You know what I'm saying? And it's kind of rhetorical because I know the answer because we gave them the scout the day before. So then it comes about being about execution. Did you execute the game plan? Some shots didn't fall for us that would normally fall. Ronald got a foul in the first 30 seconds of the game.
Yeah.
And it kind of spiraled from there. We still fought. We fought back. We fight back. We get as close to 5 points. It was 5 points in the third quarter.
So you talk about how important it is to get that #1 seed.
One or two is great.
When you make your schedule next year, I know this was talked about at PG County Media Day. I asked the question, and a lot of coaches had varying responses. Do you make your schedule more appealing so that 1 or 2 seed is more attainable, or do you challenge your kids more in the regular season so they're more battle tested when you get into the playoffs?
Well, you wanna be able to do that. You want to challenge yourself. You want to scheduling it's más o menos in Spanish, if you will. I mean, here, there. Who's making the schedule?
But if you can play the big dogs or you can play the little
and
dogs and
I
stack
put
wins.
my schedule up against anybody.
Right.
Okay. We go play in we took our kids our first game of the year. We played in Brooklyn, New York. You know what I mean? We didn't know much about them. We got invited and we went. It was and fortunately we won. Our other out of conference game was against Centerville. They were number 17 in the Washington Post at the time. We got our first team All-Met guy on their team.
Avery Ford.
Yeah, Avery Ford. We go to Baltimore, okay? Play in Morgan State, in the basketball academy. We go there every year because I just like the bump up there. I like to get in, and if you're gonna win, you're gonna win. If you're gonna lose, you're gonna lose. You know what I'm saying? So
given all that, if next year you have the chance to get a 1 seed, but in order to do that, you can't play in those. You got to play some cupcakes, if you will. Do you ever think about that?
Nah, not really, because at the end of the day, you want to get your guys ready. And then on the opposite side of that, if you're good enough, you can be a 5 or 6 seed with 6 or 7 losses going into the playoffs. And still grind your way through because you're battle tested with the wins or even the losses. So it just depends on what you're looking for. There's no quick fix. You got to play. It's a long season. I tell our kids we're going to be together for 5 months. 5 months. Basketball season is the longest season, longer than any other season. Football, you got 10 games, 10 weeks. If you make the playoffs, you're good. And in the spring, obviously, you got all the things that are happening there. But you want to be ready in February at the end of the year, trying to go and compete.
Let's see, what else? What else? What do you think about the way things were set up in the MPSSA this year? We didn't really get to see everything play out, but the way after the final 8, they kind of reseeded everything. I mean, that was different, obviously.
Yeah, it was interesting.
It was. What are your thoughts on that?
This is just interesting. I mean, that stuff's above my pay grade, so I don't have anything to do with who makes this or makes that. You know, it's what they say it's going to be. It is what it is. But interesting. Kind of put a little flavor in it. Gave you something different to shoot for. Change is always good. I like the format that they have in Kentucky. All the games are at Rupp. And from each region, it's a crazy breakdown the way that they do it. But everybody ends up coming to Rupp Arena for the state championship, and it's great from all over the state.
I mean, it's kind of like that with University of Maryland here,
but
right?
the way that they do it, it's totally different. Yeah. More teams make it.
All right, that's in your homework assignment this week. Check out what happens in Kentucky, guys.
Oh, I don't. Yeah.
So next year, Polite is gone. Sumner is gone, Holland is gone. Where do you start?
Next guy's up.
And they are?
Cameron Gregory,
Okay.
Zion Tyson,
All right.
Derek Anderson. Have a great group of young guys coming up.
These are varsity guys this year?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Ronald's brother,
Roland Polite?
Yeah.
Tell us about him. I remember him from Summer League a little bit. What is he? Does he play like Ronald?
He's a point guard. He's He's not as tall as Ronald, but he's crafty lefty. Very crafty. Very, 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 very smart basketball player. High IQ.
Do you think that how do you think the whole COVID-19 thing, do you think it'll change the landscape of high school basketball at all? Do you see anything happening in regards to either the economic fallout of this or the social aspects of it?
Well, it's just a lot of things that are just being missed. I mean, from the first live period would have been in the next weekend. I believe it was April 8th or something like that. Would have been the first live period. So yeah, from that perspective, the recruiting aspect of it, just funds being generated. Summer League, Capital Hoop Summer League, Falconers League, all the summer leagues that are in flux at this time.
Yeah.
You just don't know anything, and then you haven't seen your team. This started in March. Well, it's March now, but in the beginning of the month when everything got in the end of February, beginning of March. So you haven't seen your kids. Okay, you haven't seen your kids. You haven't talked about much. We just lost to St. Charles, so we haven't, you might have had a day in between to turn your gear or whatever, and now you just haven't seen them a whole lot, So it's a starting point where everybody's at, so it's not like anybody's got an advantage. I don't think that there's any advantage here because everybody is pretty much in a dead period.
So let's just say that, let's say after this COVID-19, high school basketball in the area decides this is how they're going to do it. For next year, there's going to be a draft. Every high school in the area just picks players like NBA draft style.
Okay.
Who is your first pick? And it can't be someone from Oxon Hill right now.
In this area?
In the DMV, in the Washington Post coverage zone. You got first pick next year. Who are you taking?
I don't know.
You got to do your homework?
I don't have to do any homework, but I don't know. To be able to answer that question right now, you said I can't take anybody from Oxon Hill.
Right.
So I don't know.
What are the characteristics that you look for in that? Is it just the best player? Is it a leader? If that were the situation, what do you like most in a player? If you could mold a player to how you want them?
Number one, work ethic. Those guys that I've been fortunate enough to coach that have been all-met players, that have led and or guided teams to regional championships, state championships, they were just driven. Got to have some moxie about you, a little bit of toughness, and you got to be coachable. Being coachable is real important. And growth. You want to grow with your players. You want to grow with your players as a coach and want them to grow as players with their coach. That part of communication is extremely important.
Last thing before we get out of here, I want to hear a good Lew Howard story. A story from when you were a player, a story from when you were a coach, maybe an issue you had with someone, and just a funny story that you've got. You've been around for a long time. I'm sure there's some stories you've got.
Funny story.
It could be about another program, and they'll go nameless. Just a funny story you've got.
Yeah, I don't got a whole lot of funny stories. But the one story I can tell you about is work ethic.
Okay.
It's work ethic. And this is from college. I played at Stony Brook, right?
Yeah.
This guy, he's my former teammate. His name is Emeka Smith.
Okay.
Look up that name.
Emeka Smith.
Emeka Smith. He went to South Shore High School in Brooklyn.
Okay.
Emeka, I played behind Emeka. I was backup to him. I was his backup point guard.
Okay.
Never started a college game.
Okay.
Was always his backup.
Okay.
He's the second all-time leading scorer at Stony Brook right now.
Wow. Still.
That's
That's impressive.
Jamil Warmley is the all-time.
Okay.
It was just happened like 3 years ago.
Okay.
So his record stood for like 24, 25 years.
Gotcha.
But the work ethic. I knew I wasn't starting, but I played behind him. I went to practice every day, came ready to work. Got better.
Did he make you better?
Hell yeah. Yeah, without a doubt. Without a doubt.
So let's hear about his work ethic.
He worked extremely hard. He worked extremely hard at his craft.
Emeka Smith.
Emeka Smith, probably the driving force behind Lew Howard.
Of all the players you've coached, who has the work ethic closest to Emeka Smith?
There's a couple. Abdul Bundu.
He was a horse.
Abdul Bundu. He was, yeah. His work ethic has been unmatched.
Where did he learn how to rebound?
There's one of my assistant coaches. We worked with him every day. Abdul couldn't walk or chew gum when he came to Largo High School.
Really?
Literally.
When did he start playing varsity basketball?
It's 10th grade.
10th
grade. He played JV his freshman year, and then he kind of got it. Abdul's the all-time leading scorer at Largo right now.
How many points, give or take?
It was
over 15?
Yes, it's
Yeah?
1600.
Wow.
Derek Coulter had that in 2012. He got that, and then Abdul matched it in 15. So James Bryson,
Yeah.
JB,
Yeah.
he was the all-time leading scorer prior to those two guys.
Okay. Covered his son this year down at Westlake.
Yeah, Villanova.
Yeah.
So just
All right,
working
man.
hard, trying to get
You
better
got any
every
questions
day.
for me?
Summer League. Is it going to be Summer League this year?
You're asking the wrong guy. We hope so. We
Yeah,
hope so.
that's the question. That's the question now. Summer League, another 30 days, and
I'll take a page out of your playbook. That's beyond my pay grade, man.
yeah. There you go. We just take it and do what we do.
Yep.
And every year the landscape changes here in Prince George's County. Every year you ask the question, which player would I want? I don't know, to be honest with you. There's no player that stands out in my mind right now that I'm saying I gotta have or I would draft immediately.
Right.
Changes every year in this area. So I'm just fortunate enough to be here, coaching. Thankful, blessed.
All right. We appreciate it, man. It's good catching up as always.
Yeah.
Hopefully I'll see you in a couple months. 6 feet.
My man, no doubt. Thanks.
All right. Appreciate it, Coach.
Absolutely.